A voter-approved effort to remove racist language from the Alabama Constitution and reorganize the heavily amended, 120-year-old document in a more understandable way began today at the State House. The Legislative Committee on the Recompilation of the Constitution met for the first time and heard a presentation from Othni Lathram, Director of the Legislative Services Agency. The committee will advise Lathram, who has the task of drafting a recompiled constitution and submitting it to legislators next year. If lawmakers approve the new document, it would go on the ballot for voters to have the final say. Any changes are limited to 4 areas: removing racist language, removing duplicative or repealed sections, consolidating economic development provisions, and arranging all the local amendments by the county they apply to. It's a very, very specific charge, Lathram told the committee. The process was authorized under legislation sponsored in 2019 by Representative Marica Coleman, D. Pleasant Grove, who was named chair of the committee today. Voters approved the idea in November 2020. It was Amendment 4 on the ballot and passed by a 2-to-1 margin. Earlier this year, Coleman and House Speaker Mac McCutcheon, R. Monrovia, sponsored a resolution creating the 10-member Advisory Commission, a measure Governor Kay Ivey signed in May. Coleman said the reform was a bipartisan effort. She has said Alabama Citizens for Constitutional Reform, a nonprofit group started in 2000, spearheaded the plan and helped convince lawmakers to support it. The Alabama Constitution, ratified in 1901, was intended to concentrate power in the legislature and preserve white supremacy and racial segregation. Federal court decisions nullified some sections decades ago, but they remain in the Constitution. Those include Section 256, which says, "Separate schools shall be provided for white and colored children, and no child of either race shall be permitted to attend a school of the other race." Section 259 authorized poll taxes. Section 32 prohibits slavery and involuntary servitude but includes an exception for the punishment of a crime. At today's meeting, Lathram gave some of the history of the document, which was Alabama's 6th state constitution, the first coming at the time of statehood in 1819. Others came with secession from the Union in 1861, the return to the Union in 1865, the Reconstruction era of 1868, and the rollback of Reconstruction and reassertion of white supremacy in 1875. Lathram said amendments to the 1901 Constitution began soon after it was ratified because it was so restrictive in certain areas. For example, it did not allow public funds to be used for improvements such as roads, schools, and courthouses. Voters have now approved 977 amendments to the Constitution, and 13 more will be on the ballot next year. Coleman said the committee will hold a public hearing in August to allow people to share their ideas about the process. A date has not been picked, she said.